I'm glad that's over. It's good to be back on board. Wait a minute. Where the hell are we?
I have no idea. You're not authorized in here.
I will destroy you.
This sector's clean.
What are you watching? Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a while ago. Do you think anyone noticed we were gone? Yeah, me neither. We tackle some weighty topics this week. Get a good lawyer. You're gonna need one. We begin with the Enterprise making a stop at Starbase 11 for repairs and for Kirk to make a report on the death of a crewman. He meets with Commodore Stone, here played by Canadian woohoo-born actor Percy Rodriguez. Go back and watch the 1975 Jaws trailer. You may recognize his voice. Kirk tells of their run-in with the Ion Storm. This particular phenomena seems unique to Star Trek, but it fits in with the more nautical themes within the show introduced here. Seems when the storm got too dangerous, they had to eject the pod. It does sound terrifying, doesn't it? Okay, not that terrifying. The pod is only referred to in this episode and doesn't appear in the earliest blueprints released in the 1970s. It seems to be similar to sending someone up the crow's nest during a storm on 18th century sailing ships, and Kirk handpicks the volunteers himself. Uh-oh, Spock is the bearer of bad news. Seems the computer record doesn't agree with Kirk's version of events. Someone's in trouble now. Many things are introduced in this episode that will become staples of Star Trek, first and foremost being Starfleet. Now, we're not quite at the Federation, but it's coming soon. This emblem dates from the movie era. The one time we saw an original Series 1, it was this monstrosity. Yes, Kirk is indeed in deep trouble as Starfleet seems bent on bringing him down for appearance's sake. The entire case against Kirk is based on the then understanding of how computers worked. Much has changed in the 50 years since this episode first aired. The concept of a backup doesn't even seem to have been considered. Now, as it is reported that in 1967 a 1 megabyte hard drive cost $1 million US, this is understandable. That the visual record of the computer may have been tampered with is so remote an idea that only the most skilled could do it. Any fool with a computer can do it now. What are you looking at? Well, when you're in this much trouble, what's the first thing you do? Go to the bar, of course. Yeah, he does that. And who should he meet but one of his exes? Oh, look, she's blonde. She has to be one of his exes. And oh no, it turns out she's the head prosecution in the upcoming trial. At least she recommends a good lawyer, which was all part of her evil plan, as he turns out to be the worst lawyer in all entertainment history. Played by veteran actor Elijah Cook Jr., who had played alongside some heavyweights, yet always seemed to be the guy you couldn't quite identify. He plays Cogley as an oddly bookish, old-fashioned type character, who doesn't trust those newfangled computers, don't you know? So, I suppose you're wondering what happened after all this time. Well, we're finally at the best part of the episode. The court-martial of Captain Kirk. And quite the star-studded affair it is, with Starfleet pulling out all the top brass. Sorry. The charge? Culpable negligence is defined as recklessly acting without reasonable caution and putting another person at risk of injury or death, or failing to do something with the same consequences. Oh, that's not good. Here, specifically, it refers to the death of the totally stable Commander Finney, but more on him in a minute. Well, Kirk pleads not guilty. Big musical sting, this must be serious. The prosecution now calls members of the Enterprise crew to sit in the chair of truth. This is an updated version of the future lie detector technology introduced in Mudd's Women, and good riddance. Blast that tin-plated. Lieutenant Shaw now gets them to admit that yes, while Captain Kirk is indeed a wonderful person, couldn't he also be just the teeniest bit of a vindictive, vengeful, murderous monster? Yeah, I guess it's possible. So, that went well. At this point, our legal genius Cogley has cross-examined none of the witnesses. No, he dramatically chooses instead to call to the stand Captain James T. Kirk. Yes, Cogley finally gets off his begins to unfold his brilliant defense strategy. And we begin with a list of Kirk's many achievements over his career, of which this is implied to be only a small part, back when you had to work your way up the ranks to the captain's chair. Kirk calmly recounts his versions of the events that led up to the jettisoning of the pod, resulting in the death of Commander Finney. Anyone who thinks William Shatner is nothing but overacting should watch this scene and learn otherwise. This is the Kirk the early fandom was built on. But oh no, the prosecution now brings out Exhibit A, the Enterprise visual log. Stop it. Now I will give the show props for at least trying to make the footage seem like a log, with a lack of music and mundane commands being issued back and forth. All well and good. Then the camera angle changes. Well, maybe it's whoa, in a move that sends modern viewers into heights of unhappiness, the camera swoops around and is now behind Kirk, showing the panel with labels clearly stuck on just for this episode. Maybe the logs are in surround sound too. The evidence clearly shows Kirk pressing the eject button during the yellow alert. Case closed. Wait, now he's pushing it during a red alert. He must be in it. Oh no, now it's green. Kirk is clearly a psychopath. How times have changed. Well, everyone is duly shocked, Kirk most of all. Our legal genius, ladies and gentlemen. And fade to commercial. So that's pretty much it for Kirk. It's Rura Penthe for sure. Yeah, I know, too early. So we return to an angry meeting where Kirk is telling Cogley where he can... Oh, no, even Cogley thinks Kirk is guilty and Kirk doesn't blame him one bit. Yeah, okay, well maybe Spock has some good news. Oh, no, not really. The computer checks out just fine. Seriously, no one actually believes in all this computer trickery. I mean, come on. But wait, upon the casual mention of chess by Kirk, Spock has an idea. Now enters Finney's daughter in a totally non-suspicious way, where before she had been understandably distraught, she is now all love and forgiveness, to the point where even Cogley is clued in and breaks the fourth wall to tell us so. On the Enterprise, Spock is annoying McCoy. I've beat the computer at chess. Impossible. No, really, I have. This is in the tradition then current that the ultimate measure of a computer was whether it could play chess, at least until Macready put an end to that nonsense. Court is back in session. Now Cogley, armed with renewed enthusiasm, steps up to put an end to this charade. Oh, no, he just shrugs and gives up. But wait, it's Spock to the rescue with news that yes, the Enterprise computer had been tampered with. Time for some courtroom drama. I'm torn over my reaction to the next section. It manages to cover the weighty topics I mentioned at the top, add a large piece to the Star Trek mythos, and be 10 points over the top in the acting department simultaneously. Cogley points out the development of the law down the centuries, with the codes of Hammurabi and Justinian, the Magna Carta, and the Constitution of the United States, all leading to the rights of the accused in a trial. Valid point. Important documents. I wouldn't look too deeply into human rights in the older ones, though. We move on to the fundamental declarations of the Martian colonies and the statutes of Alpha 3. Sadly, no love for Ethelbert of Kent. He rightly points out that the most damning evidence against Captain Kirk, that of the computer, is being accepted without question. Video evidence alone should not be enough to destroy a person's career. Thank goodness that never happens anymore. The manipulation of images is still an important issue today, with the advent of de-aging, digital actors, and K-pop. Cogley asks that we remain vigilant. Nay, he demands it. He demands it. Cogley has everyone reconvene on the Enterprise, his theory being that Finney is still alive and hiding on board, faking his death in order to frame Kirk in revenge for Kirk having reported a mistake by Finney years before, resulting in Finney's failure to rise in the ranks. Got all that? Alright, let's proceed. Turns out the only people who could have tinkered with the computer are Kirk, Spock, and Finney. Yeah, whatever. So to find the hiding Finney, because sensors don't seem to be a thing today, they use the silliest prop in all Star Trek history. Okay, that's a close second. Ladies and gentlemen, a standard 1960s microphone is also a white sound device capable of masking heartbeats. Yes, Spock, we feel your pain. This leads to an exciting fight scene with totally believable stunt doubles. Finney is apprehended, Kirk is free. Without a formal apology, I might add, but hey, there is this. There is a subplot about Finney trying to plunge the Enterprise into the atmosphere. But you'll forget all that. They do. In the end, it turns out Cogley will now defend Finney. I think the pod was preferable. So what have we learned? Books are good. Computers are bad. Don't trust everything you see. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.